Welcome back, everybody. Just wanted to do a quick tabletop video on an interesting Colt item not often seen in the wild anymore. They seem to be slowly being picked up by collectors a little bit more than they were in the past, and that's these little Colt Derringers, called the fourth model Derringer. These Derringers, there's a lot of information out there that is incorrect or not been researched, and information or history made by committee. In other words, if something is repeated enough times, it becomes true, and pretty soon everybody, including supposed experts, are spouting this information, and it might not be true. And that's the case with these Derringers, partly because there isn't a lot of information out there. There's a little bit of known information, and we'll kind of separate some of the myth from the truth on these firearms as much as I know and have been able to ascertain in my travels collecting Colts and trying to figure them out. Now, a lot of people call these the Lord and Lady Derringers. These have been already checked. They are unloaded. I got my gloves on again because these are unfired guns, and I want to keep them that way, and I'll explain that in a minute. But the Lord and Lady Derringers did not come out until later. These are actually just called the fourth model Derringer here, and there's a little misinformation on that. You see they are Colt branded. There was another company that, and I have not found any concrete evidence that Butler made these, Butler Association Incorporated, and but it's very likely they made these for Colt. Not unusual for manufacturers to have other manufacturers make guns for them, and Colt has done this a few times in their past, such as the 25 Auto. If you'll search through my videos, I have a video on the 25 Auto that was made by 2 or 3 different companies for Colt and just branded as a Colt. Carries all the Colt patents and names and everything like that, but as I said, there's no absolute concrete evidence that these were made by Butler that I found in writing or from the Colt manufacturer, but it's maybe fairly likely that they were. They carry all the same parts, and now some of these are okay to fire, and some I would not fire. These are some of the ones I would not fire because they are not a steel line barrel. It's a zinc alloy barrel with no steel liner in it. Now, some were made with steel liners, and an easy way to check that is you might be able to see a ring around the barrel, and also placing a magnet on it. If you have a good magnet, you should be able to tell if that has any attraction there. This one does not. It just slides right off. These are not steel lined, and you can shoot them, but you will wear the rifling and end up with a smooth bore within a very short time. Now, these are chambered in strictly in 22 short, not high velocity, but just standard velocity shorts. If you use that to shoot them, if you're going to shoot them, you should be okay for a few rounds until you shoot the bore out of them. Some of them they're worth doing that with. These I won't, because they are somewhat of a collector's item. Still very inexpensive way to get into the Colt collecting world if you want to. Generally prices on these, if you find individual guns, and let me explain that. These were available in several configurations and in several finishes. These are, I believe it's a gold finish on them. It's very thin gold. And they were also available in a nickel finish too. The barrels are not blued because of that zinc alloy. They're actually a type of ceramic coating, and if in the right light, they have a kind of a green tinge to them. And it also has a tendency to flake and chip away. Another reason to keep a collector's gun unfired if it is unfired, if you want to keep the value of them. And in fact, that's where the value lies in these, is in strictly a set that is unfired, or a single that is unfired. And they came in as singles, the double set here, consecutive serial numbers, and a 4 set. And then later on, the Lord and Lady Derringers, which were also consecutively numbered with a different suffix. That's where a little bit of the confusion lies, is in serial numbers on these. If they have an N or D suffix on the serial number, they're from the first production run, which was, the D suffix was 1959 to 1963, and the N suffix overlapped with that from 1960 to 63. Both suffixes, there was about just right around 110,000 made in all the different configurations. And this is a box set of sequential serial number 2. They also came in this kind of a leather looking box with a plate engraved. You see, they were obviously made for more of a gift. Some came in picture frames that were actually non-firing, and others came in book type displays. You could actually put on a bookshelf labeled Colt, and various things like History of the Derringer and things like that. As a collector, you want to find them in complete condition, however they came originally, particularly with the case in a good shape. Sometimes they were wood cases, sometimes this leatherette style case, always velvet lined, and this nicely fitted case. You can see the Colt emblem on it also. But the second set carried a different designation, and they were made from 1970 to 1973, and they'll have the DER suffix. They shipped earlier, and then the later LDR suffix was also shipped out in lesser quantities, about 10,000 of those, about 48,000 of the DER suffix versions. Again, the ladies would have the Lady Derringers have the pearl grips on them, while the Lord Derringers were just like this configuration here, also available in nickel finish. There were some that were shipped as late as 1976, from what I can gather. And again, some I have found no correlation to which ones have steel line barrels, which ones don't. I've seen guns within 100 serial numbers of this firearm, which was probably these firearms, which were probably made around 1961, according to their serial number, that were steel lined. So I don't know how that came about or what the history on that is. I found absolutely no information, but you can determine it, as I said, with a magnet. You want to find them, as I said, in their box, unfired preferably. I'm going to drop this in, and they're very, very tight fit, very difficult to get out. And you want to find them, as I said, complete in the box and in as good a condition as you can. Expect to pay prices probably in the in a well-used one, less than $100. In a nice set of these, I've seen recently some exorbitant prices on these, running up to the $700 and $800 range, just because they're a Colt. But more than likely, a good price on these would be in the between $300 and $400. I purchased these for just over $200 in this condition. So if you can find that, well worth the investment. You might double your investment, but doubling a dime only gives you 20 cents. So it's not like a Colt Python or single action Army, not in that class. as they are more of a reproduction designed to give as a gift, and simply have some interesting Colt history in your hands. That it's a reproduction of the number 3 Thur action Colt. There's side opening. You put it on half cock and the barrel swivels to the side in order to load your 22 short ammo in this particular one. Of course, the Model 3s were, I believe, 41 caliber. And anyway, but I wanted to show you a fun way to get into Colt collecting if you desired. You won't get rich on buying these, but I think they're worth having in your collection as a Colt collector, and a lot of interest starting to gain in them. So sooner would be better than later to buy them as with any collectible or surplus firearm. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time with some more really neat and unusual firearms.